Okay, so I've got a few new items in, and I'm going to go ahead and add those in. Uh, some of them are things that I came across while I was going through this. So we'll start simple. To finally finish off my Mega Man collection, we're going to go here and we're going to update this one. I did get a manual for it, so now it is complete. Not realizing I did not have a manual. So that's one. And then the next is Marble Madness. I wanted to get a manual for that, so I did. Because I have the game in box, we're going to edit the manual in. But then I'm also going to add another copy because in order to get the manual, it came with a game, and the game and the manual are in good shape, and it would be much cheaper to buy the pair than to just buy the manual separately. So we got that in. And then I had a new limited run game show up. So we'll see if this is even in here. So this would be Risk of Rain. One of their newest ones. And look at that, it's already in there. No price on it yet, but that's fine. They did add it, so I'm sure it will. Get a price eventually. Alright. Now to pick up where we left off. Hey Skins, how's it going, man? How you doing, Skins? Hey, Mr. Boom Blaster, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Let me move the microphone a little closer. I had the stuff set up in here, and get through the ad. Watching ads on my own channel. And before I was gonna break it down to move it out to the pinball area for tonight's stream, I figured I'd get a little bit more done. Hopefully I can get through the Dreamcast stuff I've got here, as well as maybe get into the Wii stuff pretty good. Yep, more cataloging, more cataloging. I'm wondering, it's all the way over there. What I'm probably going to do, I'm going to go grab, I keep my some of my Dreamcast games here, but I have all of them in a binder thing. So what I'm probably going to do is I go through the cases. I'm going to put the games back in the cases from the binder guy. Give me 1 second. binder guy here. My personal goal is to get my cataloging done. Oh. Microphone's still over here. My personal goal is to get cataloging done by the end of the weekend. That would be nice. Alright. So I've got a bunch of PC games, but to my knowledge, none of that is actually in here. There's no spot for PC games, which is fine. They just won't be in there. Oh, here's my other TurboGrafx 16 game that I've got, though, right in front of my Dreamcast game, so I will do this one first. And that would be Bonk's Adventure. Manual, if you will. Cart and case. I guess this would be Bonk 1 Bonk's Adventure. No larger box for it. I don't really know what to describe these as when they don't have the outer box, or if they just have the case, or what the deal is. So I'm just marking it as that. If that's incorrect, then I can worry about that another day. Alright. So as I said, I'm going to go through here and put the actual games back in their cases. At least the ones that I have in this binder. So, first up is Crazy Taxi, a classic for the Phantom of the Opera pinball. Middle ramp all day. You know, I honestly, first off, I don't mind. Ask me any questions about whatever you want. Unfortunately, I don't honestly have a lot of time on Phantom of the Opera. I owned one, but while I owned it, it never worked. And I ended up selling it because I wasn't able to get it back and functioning. And I've only played it very limited amounts on Pinball Arcade. So unfortunately, I don't really have any strategies for that game. Although if I did have something, I would more than be happy to let you know. Alright, so Dreamcast, or I guess I should click that one. But here, we'll first, we'll put in the system. So I do have the Black Console, Sega Sports Edition. I probably have the box back home, but I'm just going to act like I don't. And it sounds like the box might have gotten destroyed in a recent flooding back home. But I do have this Sega Sports, which I really like. The black one versus the white one. Very slick. And then we'll check for accessories to see if there's anything here. Because, none of these, I mean, I've got memory cards. I'm not really trying to put memory cards in here. Don't have a broadband adapter. Interesting that they're missing a few other accessories that I wouldn't have mind seeing there that I do have. But maybe they're elsewhere. Maybe it's under controllers, actually. Look at that. Here we go. I've got these. They're maracas. I actually have all of the pieces for it. And the box. They're still in the boxes. They're still sitting up right behind us up there. 2 boxes of maraca controllers. So we're going to add another copy. Unfortunately, they're not really showing us any value. Not a problem, Boom Blaster. there's any other games that maybe I'd be able to help you out with there, I'd be more than happy to help you out. The Dreamcast controller, keyboard, I do have that. I've got normal wear. I've got 2 of those, actually. Because everybody needs a keyboard for the Dreamcast for one particular game. Alright. Now we'll just get to the regular stuff. Alright, Crazy Taxi. Game box manual. No blemishes. Usually the cases... Actually, you know what? This has got some cracks in the case. Normal wear. Alright, now to find Crazy Taxi. There it is. Typing of the Dead on Dreamcast. Exactly. Good guess. Not a surprise, I suppose. Typing of the Dead, indeed. Alright, add that back in. Next up is Dynamite Cop. I have not played this one yet. It is more of a brawler, if you will. This is a later pickup for me. Box manual. I'll just put normal wear. Alright, next up is F355 Challenge, which is basically a Ferrari racing game. Put the game back in the case. I didn't really have much of a history with this one, to be honest. I had a racing controller, and back in the day, I believe this probably got good reviews, so I picked it up. Saw it once on GDQ, how fast he was typing. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know, other than just not dying, I don't really know how you do a game like that quickly, simply because the game itself is mainly just all on rails the entire time. So, other than the time it takes for you to make any mistakes, I don't know. But it's a fun game. Next up is a fantastic game, Jet Grind Radio. Some good inside box art. Case art. This one I played quite a bit. Really like this game. Alright. Couple. I will say, back in the day when these came out, these were actually really good. The Sega Sports, NBA 2K, and NFL 2K series, I enjoyed those quite a bit. For some reason, I don't know why, but they played really well on the Dreamcast. It was just a fun game. So next up is NFL 2K. And one thing I really, really liked about the NFL 2K series on Dreamcast was using the VMUs, which are the memory cards that they have. The memory cards themselves have little screens on them. And when you slide into the controller, you can see the screen right in the middle of your controller. And it actually had some control aspects to it. So one cool thing, especially a long time ago, back when this was out, was when you're playing somebody, you can choose your plays on the little screen on the VMU in front of you, so that your opponent can't see what you're picking. So it's a nice way to kind of keep what's going on as a hidden part of the game. And I mean, before you just have to be, honest. Hey, I'm not really going to look at what you're picking, or they have ways to make the cursor invisible or things like that. But that was a very cool way for them to utilize the VMU in the controller. Okay, next up is NFL Blitz 2001. I went on a blitz of collecting Blitz games. Ha ha ha. Because I have a Blitz machine. And this case is a little bit broken on one of the tabs there. Alright, next up are some more of the rarer games-ish. First up we got Power Stone. So, as far as a 3D fighting game goes, the Power Stone games were known as being a lot of fun. Get it. Looks like these have calmed down in price a little bit as well. They used to be a little bit higher. Next up is Power Stone 2. So now this is a 4-player fighting game rather than a 2-player fighting game. So kind of like 3D Mario or Super Smash Brothers-ish in a way. Doesn't really compare to a lot of games. They didn't really make a lot of games of this style. Here's another one that's seems to be calming down in price quite a bit. Used to definitely be up in the $100 mark. Surprisingly, it seems to be coming down. So here's one I got for collecting purposes, to be honest. And that would be Project Justice. It's another fighting game. And although I'm not big on fighting games, it's supposed to be good. And picked it up anyway. Project Justice. Another one that hit a peak and has come back down in price quite a bit. Seems like I'm seeing a few of those happen where there was a peak and then they've definitely calmed back down. Actually, I'll do that. Alright, here's a pickup just because I like the original classic game. Q*bert. Nothing fancy about this, just Q*bert. Here's one that I like the original series on PC, and to be honest, I really liked the original games, how they're way different than when they became more action-y games, to be honest. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. What I liked about the original ones is that it wasn't about, running around and shooting each other so much as it was actually planning it out. So it was more of a strategy game where you could set up how everybody would move in a path well before you'd even go in the mission. And you don't even have to play it. You can just let the computer handle it based off of all the actions you set up and all the paths that you have your teams take in order to do what they need to do. So I really liked that aspect about it. That it was not just a shooting game, but it was really more of a strategy game. Alright, next up is Rayman 2, Great Escape. So, some 3D Rayman, if you will. Back then, this was a really good-looking game on the system as well. Games like this worked well on the Dreamcast. They looked well. They looked good. It was a time when, you compare it against how some of the other systems would look, and the Dreamcast seemed to do a really good job with making the 3D look smoother, if you will. Okay, next one up is Resident Evil Code Veronica. Not the greatest in Resident Evils. But it was, for someone who didn't get in on the PlayStation, having it on the Dreamcast, it looked really good on the Dreamcast. It was 2-disc as well. To be honest, I'm not even sure that I knew that 2 and 3 were released on the Dreamcast so much. And I picked this up at the time, back when it was coming out. Change that to normal wear. So here's a cool one that I always really enjoyed. I always thought it looked really good and it was fun to play. Mainly because, it was more kind of like Mario Kart-ish kart racing, but not really karts, but little RC cars. That'd be Revolt. This came out on a lot of systems, but the fact that it looked so good on the Dreamcast playing it was definitely a kind of a selling point, I guess, for me. Just because it looked really good. It just looked sharp, and it was fun to play. Okay, so next is Samba de Amigo. I mentioned earlier that I had the maracas, so I also had 2 of these. I had 2 maraca controllers, so obviously I had Samba de Amigo the game. I never did pick up the sequel, Samba de Amigo 2000. But the original one was good. It wasn't perfect as far as using the... and I think 2000 didn't come out in the US anyway. But it wasn't perfect as far as it recognizing what's actually going on the controller. But it was good enough in order to play it and have a good time. You'd sometimes miss one. You'd have to be really exact. But for the most part, it was forgivable. Okay. Next up is, and to be honest, I feel like I have the case, and I no longer have the game, and I no longer have the microphone because I think I gave it to somebody else, and I'm pretty sure that's true. So all I've got for this thing is a case. So maybe I should recollect this one just for the sake of recollecting it. But that would be Caution Seaman, or just Seaman, if you will. Really strange game. I just have the box and manual. No game. No blemishes though. Back in the day, I did play this. Should probably pick up the game sometime. I did play this all the way through to the end, where eventually, spoilers, breaks free from your aquarium and just leaves you behind. But I played it back in college when I would have people around, and it's the kind of game where you would only have a need to play it for so long in a single sitting, because it wouldn't do anything else for the most part. So I'd have people stop by, and they would also hang out with them. Next one up, Sega Bass Fishing, and talk to them as well, because you talk to them, and it was entertaining. It was good for what it was. Sega Bass Fishing. I do have the Sega Dreamcast fishing rod controller as well, because how can you go bass fishing without a bass fishing controller? It's Sega Bass Fishing. What else is there to say? Except that it doesn't have marine life fishing in it. So you gotta also have Sega Marine Fishing too. Once again, also works with the controller. So if you're looking to hook your own deep sea blue marlin, sailfin, tarpon, tuna, or mako shark, this is where you'll get that. Yeah, there was an AVGN episode about it many, many years after it came out, or not that long ago. I'm not aware of any follow-up game to Seaman, to be honest. At least if there is, I'm completely unaware of it. It was really weird, but it wasn't really bad. I'll say that. Wouldn't make for a bad streaming game for how weird it is. It's funny they don't have the fishing rod controller. But it was neat. Definitely unique, and I'm a fan of unique games. What can I say? Next up is Shenmue, one of the games that definitely got me interested in getting a Dreamcast system. 4 discs, if you include the Passport. I don't know how this disc layout is supposed to actually work. I guess the Passport will go here. And there's a manual. So I'll just put that like that. Fold that back up. So there you go, Shenmue. Not a huge RPG fan, but I did enjoy what I played of this game back in the day when I played it. And that would be Skies of Arcadia. think part of it was that it was just a really good looking game too. I think that helped out a lot. Two disc. Alright, here's probably one of the first games I ever played on the Dreamcast. Back in college when the Dreamcast came out, we rented it as far as someone in our hall did, and we all sat around one or two nights playing it. And one of the best games on it right out the gate was Soul Calibur. A fighting game that I've always enjoyed. And it looked ridiculously good on the Dreamcast. It even still looks good now if you boot up Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast, to be perfectly honest. Mentioned it before. That's funny, I don't know if I ever realized that had movement in it. But next up is Space Channel 5. I don't know if it really shows up on the camera, but there's a little action or leg there flickering around. Space Channel 5 was a fun rhythm game. Good music. Picked this up more as a collection piece once again. But Dreamcast's Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. I'm not much of a fighting game, but Third Strike is supposed to be a fantastic version of Street Fighter. Fight for the future. Alright, so here's a game I really liked. And I picked this up back in the day for the Dreamcast. I remember just really enjoying playing it. I didn't know it existed as an anime before this, but this would be Sword of the Berserk, Guts Rage. I had no idea of anything about Berserk or Guts in the series, but this game was a ton of fun. The cutscenes were really engaging, difficult, but it was a blast. Highly recommended if you have a Dreamcast to check it out. It can get a bit difficult, I will say that, but it was good. It was fun. Alright, more racing stuff because I had a racing controller. Test Drive Le Mans. I'm not really a big racing game fan, but I had the controller, so I may as well make the most of it. So let's get some racing games. In case that wasn't enough, let's take it off-road for some V-Rally. Racing off-road. So here's another racing game that is not like those others, but I had a blast playing this game, to be honest. That's Tokyo Extreme Racer 2, where it was about street racing, and then it was all about finding people on the road, which was like an open world game basically, and you just roll up behind somebody and challenge them, and then you'd race from wherever you were, which there wasn't really a lot of games like this at all back then. An open world racing game, completely different than what was out there. And I had a lot of fun with it. It was a good game. And then you'd win money, and then you can upgrade your car so you can race better people. It was a blast. Alright, back when I was having to collect all versions of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 because I did not know what system I'd be playing it on for an Iron Man competition. There we go. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on Dreamcast. When the game came out, I originally played it on PC. The first one I played on the 64, the second one I played on PC, the third one I played on GameCube. Alright, so here's another gem of the Dreamcast in my opinion, and that'd be Toy Commander. Basically, you can control a bunch of different toys and environments, doing different things and playing. I remember playing this and having a lot of fun with it. I don't know if it actually holds up as well as what my memory tells me. But I liked it. Alright, and as mentioned earlier, The Typing of the Dead. This game's fantastic. I originally played this on PC, which makes a lot more sense. But at the time, when you played on PC, the characters in the game are still wearing Dreamcasts on their back, I believe. So, because this originally came out on Dreamcast, so all the characters, instead of doing anything, instead of having guns, they're wearing keyboards over their neck, and they have Dreamcasts on their back. It was awesome. Hey, Boomer, how's it going, man? This would be a good one to stream. Alright, and the final game in the Dreamcast franchise, or my Dreamcast collection, is Virtual On. So, anime robot fighting in 3D that comes across as extra complex, or Cyber Troopers Virtual On, or Tario Tangram. Let's see if this is under Virtual On for V. Yeah, there it is. I never really got into this series, and I know it was also a arcade series with multiple cabinets hooked up, and I just never got into it for whatever. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 were excellent. Especially back then when there wasn't anything like that. It just was mind-blowing. So, this would be completely... I shouldn't do that. So I've still got... And the rest of the stuff I have in here are all PC games. Back from the 90s and early 2000s when I would buy my PC games. And a lot of times what I would do is, since I kept them in here, if there was a code that went with it, I put it on a little sticker, and I'd throw the sticker on here and keep the game there. So if I needed to have the code for Warcraft 3, I'm good to go. So if I were to put all these back into their original cases, let's have a look here. Here's one with a code. I'm just curious if I actually still would have the code. Do I even still have the case over here? I know I've got the case somewhere. There's the case. Pull this out to make some room. So with the case, yeah, see, there we go. So yeah, I've got the code that's on the back of the case written on a little tag right there, so boom, I'd be ready to go if I wanted to play that game again. But most likely, I'm going to just leave these games in here since I can't enter them. Some good games in here. See, here's my PC version of Typing of the Dead. Alright. So we've gone through Dreamcast now. Next up is the Wii. Start with the system. There's a few systems. I just have the original white. Just gonna put normal wear. I think I got rid of all the Wii boxes that I had. I think so. And I've got 2 of them. One upstairs, one downstairs. Two, yep. Okay, just checking. I didn't have any other ones. What do they got for accessories? Possible missions and accessory. Oh, I forgot another. Okay. It's weird. I just forgot some, but that's okay. Wii Zapper, I guess. The hell's... I don't know what that's doing in accessories. I do have the Wii Zapper. Let's put normal wear on it. Alright. And I just remembered a PlayStation 3 game that I have that I forgot to include. And that is the Wonder Book. Some sort of Harry Potter Wonder Book thing. Because it's not sitting with my other stuff. Book of Spells. I don't know which one of those I have. It didn't come with that stuff, so it's definitely not that. It'd be this. I bought it cheap. Don't worry. Okay. So we're good to go back for all Wii games, which there are a lot of Wii games. A lot of shovelware. So, I have a lot of really good Wii games because there were a lot of good ones. But I also bought a lot of kind of game showy type stuff or multi-cheapo game type stuff, mainly to be able to have them and play the stupid games that might be on some of those, to at least give them a try. But I picked them up all pretty cheap. So you'll see a good mix of both of those. Grab a handful at a time, I guess would work best. Alright, first up is a A Boy and His Blob, the Wii remake. And this was pretty cool. It was cool to see that they brought this particular game back. And it looked gorgeous. It was all hand-drawn art, and it looked really good. Alright, this was more of a collecting game. Back to the Future, the game. I had this on the PC when it came out, but they had it all on the Wii as just one disc. So I figured, you know what, I'll pick it up. I don't know why it's out of order there, but that's okay. Okay, next and out of order, Animal Crossing City Folk. Once again, I'm a sucker for Animal Crossing. Holy crap, is this a thick manual. Probably because it's in multiple languages. Alright. Battalion Wars 2. BWI 2. I enjoyed the Battalion Wars games. I wouldn't mind replaying this one sometime. I didn't get as far into 2 as I would have liked. Real-time strategy style game. And here's one I had back when the Wii came out. It was popular on the DS as we went through, and couldn't help but bringing stuff like this to the Wii. Big Brain Academy, Wii Degree. Big Brain Academy, Wii Degree. Here we go. It's nothing crazy, but, you know, they're fun games. Alright, I have these back the wrong way. Don't flip them over. There we go. Okay, here we go. Trash. So this was actually pretty cool. I never got into it as much as I'd like to have. But Blastworks, more or less a side-scrolling shooter game where you can make and draw your own ships and levels, and it's a shame it's not the type of thing that could have gotten more popular. But pretty neat concept. I don't know why this would be... Why am I having trouble finding this? There it is. Super cheap. Bargain bin. Alright, so here's a series of games that I thought were amazing. That'd be Boom Blocks, and then obviously sequel Boom Blocks Bash Party. Basically, throw stuff at stuff and watch it explode. And it worked. Worked really well. Worked great as a solo game, as a party game. It's still fun to play. I played it not that long ago, and it was still as satisfying now as it was then. And the amount of multiplayer options and game styles in it can be a really good time. So, Boomblocks Bash Party. If you think playing a game like Warlords is fun and how that still holds up, love Blastworks. Awesome. Good to hear that, Boomer. Did it. I never got into it as much as I wish I had, like I said. So back when the Wii was pumping out mini games early on, they made Carnival Games, and I foolishly bought it. Not to say it was bad, but it is certainly not special. There might have been a few decent, fun style games in there. But, yeah. So here's a series that probably should have been better than it was. And you had high hopes because, hey, it's a shooter with Wii Motion controls, so you can shoot and aim. That should be cool. Conduit. It just, I don't know. Something about it just wasn't as fun as it should have been. I don't know if it'd be the kind of game that would be worth, I guess it's under T for the Conduit. If it'd be worth revisiting someday, I don't know. Maybe. If I were going to revisit a Wii shooter, I would probably revisit Red Steel, or Red Steel 2, to be honest. Okay, so this was a cool little board game, because I don't know if anybody's ever played Cranium, but this is Cranium Kabuki on the Wii. And Cranium was actually kind of a fun board game. Because you were drawing, you were using clay, it made use of a few cool different things. So this game also came with these goggles, which make everything red. So that they could have certain things up on the screen that only one person can see at a time, which was cool. And you didn't necessarily use clay, but you were able to draw or do other things. It was still fun. I still remember having fun playing this, even though it's silly and dumb. So is this under Cranium? I bet if I went and revisited this again with a group of people, it would be, we would have a good time. Just a hunch. Hey, Skins, how you doing, man? Alright, so here's one of the games that I picked up, and I think I tried playing this, or maybe I didn't. Maybe it was a different one. Cursed Mountain. A mature Wii game. Kind of a little bit more of a horror style game. Not necessarily sure if it's really all that good, but to my knowledge, it's not all that bad. So I picked it up in a time when I was doing some Wii game collecting. Good question, Skins. If I had to guess, we're probably going to be around 13 or 1400 when it's all said and done. I don't really know just yet. So here we go. There's one that it would probably play off well on stream since I did order up and that seemed to go well. Cookin' Mama, Cook Off. This worked well with the Wii just because you had the motion controls. Like the DS version, had the touch controls. It was fun. Cookin' Mama should be under these. Stuff is out of order. Order Up was a fun stream. I'm glad. Any good reason why Order Up seemed to be so appealing? It partially got repetitive, but it never got old. I don't know if that makes sense. And for some reason I had fun playing it. Because it's a fun game to play, I guess. Speaking of fun games to play, this one never got enough love. And this was fun. De Blob. You're basically a colorful blob running around a colorless world, coloring up the place. And it was a pretty game to play, and it was fun. It was basically like a platformer, and you move around, and the controls were good to my recollection. De Blob. Where would you put De Blob? You'd think it'd be under D-E-B, but it's not. Don't tell me it's under B for Blob. Make me search for it. Oh, it's under DE. No, wait. That's where I was. De Blob. Ugh. I don't know why I couldn't find it. There it is. It did. I guess that's a good point. Maybe there's something about motion controls that add some flair to a stream. Tonight is going to be Simpsons Pinball Party. I would have done Tron normally, but since we did like almost 3 hours of Tron, or definitely over 2 hours of Tron last week, I feel I would just skip forward and do Simpsons. So next up is Dead Space Extraction, which is a on-rails shooter, light gun shooter in the Dead Space universe. And if there's one thing I can say that we did really well in a few... Oh, why the hell did I just close that? Would be light gun style shooters. It worked really well. By the way, Boomer, I appreciate the honest answer there. Gnat flying around here. Alright, so Dead Space. Extraction. Alright, the Blob, where are you? Yeah, that was the only other thing in the back of my mind about that I didn't do while streaming Tron. But I felt like the complete lack of Simpsons at all, other than repair work, would make for a better choice this week. Plus, it gets me back to Avatar sooner, just in case Avatar needs to leave sooner. Okay, so here's a game that would make no sense that I would enjoy. And really, I should be more creeped out by this entirely in general. But it's Deadly Creatures. where you play the role of the actual creatures themselves. You're either playing as a spider or a scorpion, and you kind of switch off between the two in this world where you're progressing and fighting off larger enemies like that snake. And it's actually a really good game. And if it wasn't for the fact that I'm terrified of spiders, I would probably consider playing it more. Which it's weird that I would even have played it as much as I have. I don't know. Part of it doesn't bother me, where normally it would completely bother me. I don't know. That's a bumpy road to go down right there. So next up is Dewey's Adventure, complete opposite of the last game. And this is one I never really... This is one I picked up after the fact, to be honest. But I always wanted to play it. Which game, Boomer, are you talking about? Deadly Creatures? Dewey's Adventure. Or are you talking about The Blob? I don't know much about Dewey's Adventure other than it's supposed to be a colorful, fun game. Okay, now here's a weird one. And lately I feel like I've been... Peanut Butter Gamer's been streaming this one a bit lately. And I bought this for my brother long before that, quite a few years ago, when we played it at Christmas when I was there. And this is just a really, really weird version of a board game that takes so long to play. It's brutal. It's really brutal. Dokapon Kingdom. I ended up having to get a copy for myself just because it's so weird that I couldn't not get it. It's like a board game... I don't even know. It's like Action Mario Party, if you will. Holy crap, and it's been going up in price. I think when I got it, it was still $50. Maybe it went up in price due to other people playing it on streams more recently. Just shot up out of nowhere. A lot of games came out for the Wii skins. So a more common one here, Donkey Kong Country Returns. This was, you know, as it says, the return of Donkey Kong Country. I mean, as stupid as that is to say, but it was a great game. It was exactly what you'd want from Donkey Kong Country making a comeback. It was not easy. It looked gorgeous. It was smooth and fun to play, just as any Donkey Kong Country game was. Well worth the play. I never got Barrel Blast. I feel like I should have. I don't know much about how that game plays, but I never picked up Barrel Blast. Alright, so here's one that I'm sure is worth nothing, but I actually played this quite a bit. I jumped into the Wii Fit game. I jumped into Wii Fit when that came out, and then I fell off of playing that for a while. Hey, Girl Geek, how's it going? And then a while later, EA brought out EA Active, and they had this little black leg strap that you'd put the nunchuck in while you were doing other stuff, and it would help read your actions. It came with a resistance band for you to do some of the exercises. And one of the things I liked about this was that it actually had like a schedule, a calendar of things for you to do. And it was kind of nice to have that level of, hey, here's what you're doing today, and here's what you're going to be doing for like the next month. And made it feel like you're actually kind of keeping up with it. And I did it for like 1 or 2 months, and I did have fun with it while I had it. That's for sure. 1,500 games sounds about right. There's a lot of games on the Wii. Alright, so here's another near-launch title. Elebits. And it wasn't long ago that I actually booted this game back up and played it again. And more or less all you're doing is taking your Wiimote, pointing around a room, destroying stuff, searching for Elebits, collecting them so you can get stronger, so you can pick up and throw around more stuff around the room and find more Elebits. Basically like Katamari Damacy, but with shooting stuff. It was fun, except it unfortunately got to the point where it was getting really tough. And it would get frustrating because when you play a level for so long, and then you end up failing, and then you have to go back and you have to keep playing those same levels over and over, it got tough to want to keep going on. Because the levels were too long. You'd play for like 20 minutes, and then you'd lose, and it's like, I don't want to do that again, to play the exact same level over and over. Found that it needed a SCART cable. Ah. Do you have any, what titles do you have for your Neo Geo MVS, GrowGeek? There's a lot of shovelware, yes. But most people, I feel, don't realize how many good, just non-shovelware games there were for the Wii that were only on the Wii. So, it's still, in my opinion, an underappreciated system for all the games that came out on it that were really good. And then you could just say, okay, well then at that point just buy a Wii U, since the Wii U acts as an amazing Wii emulator, and you can have both the Wii U and the Wii library right there. Alright, so Elebits, you're in. Next up, here's a serene game, Endless Ocean. Dive, Discover, Dream. There was one thing this game was missing. I mean, I love the idea of a game that was simply explore around in a pretty environment with, you know, aquatic fish. And the problem was the game was not in HD. And under most circumstances, I wouldn't knock the Wii for it being non-HD. But when you're trying to, you know, make you feel like you're in this world, an underwater world where, like, the finer details matter, this wasn't able to pull it off. I will say, Abzu, a game on the PS4 or probably PC, does pull that off amazingly, and would be exactly what, although it's not a just free roam, you know, play type game, it does one of the best underwater world jobs ever. King of Fighters and World Heroes 2? Gotcha. So, Endless Ocean. I do not, Skins. No, my horse and me riding for gold. I have a little shovelware, but I try to stay away from the bottom of the barrel shovelware. Alright, so here's a set of games, and they're in the opposite order based on their names, that are way more fun than people probably give them credit for. Here's the sequel, Excitebots Trick Racing. It's a racing game, and it's just crazy. It's super fun. You do a bunch of tricks. There's a lot of different modes. It controls well. It's a lot of fun. It'd probably make for a good game to stream, to be perfectly honest. Most expensive Wii game? That's okay. It's not necessarily about collecting the most expensive games for me. It's when it is about getting the more expensive games, it's about getting the more expensive games that are actually good and not just rare. Next up is the original of that, Excite Truck, where instead of bots, robots and stuff, it's mainly all trucks. But it still has that same level of great play control and tricks and just fun racing that made it so good. So, Excite Truck. Oh, jeez. Alright, so now for a little bit of shovelware action. Family Feud. Decades. I went through a streak of just collecting tons of these Ludia games. And I say that's the company that made them. And the big thing about them is that they're all the same. They did not invest any more money than they needed to make this stuff. Family Feud Decades. So every Ludia game like has the same interface, the same, pre-created characters. We got Carnival Games right here. Carnival Games is here. Alright, next up is Family Game Night from Hasbro. I collected these just because I like the idea of having these board games. So Hasbro went on a kick of making virtual board game representations of common board games of theirs. So this is Family Game Night. Although they've probably gone under Hasbro Family Game Night. Even I would not do that. So this one has Connect 4, Battleship, Yahtzee, Boggle, Sorry, and then Sorry Sliders. All in, one disc. Which is great. So after that, I've got Hasbro Family Game Night 2, because they've got more games. So this one has Operation, Bop It, Jenga, Picturica, Connect 4x4, and that's it. Not nearly the level of classicness, that the other one had. But, it's still a nice representation of board games. Thrillville Off the Rails, I do not. That one I don't. But I do have Family Game Night 3. So now we've added in Clue, Life, Yahtzee, Hands Down Card Game, Twister, and Mousetrap. So I don't mind the idea of having like Clue and Life, and then you can play using your Miis. So you got the little Miis in the car in Life, or Miis in Clue. Kind of a cool little collection to have. And oh god. I think I tried playing this. I don't know how good it was. GSN presents Family Game Show. I don't know what that other one was. Is this under GSN? Or probably back under Family. Family Game Show. I don't have Family Game Night 4, which apparently has some more games that apparently I have but Scrabble as well seems like it made it in there. So here's Family Game Show. Not much going on here. I don't remember if this one... I have a few of these types of shovelware ones. I don't remember how good this actually was. I probably wasn't that great. Here's one that I'll guarantee is not great. Family Party, 90 Great Games Party Pack. I mean, 90 games for less than 25 cents a game. Well, it's definitely a lot less than I paid. I paid a lot less than 25 cents a game. So, Family Party, 90 Great Games. That's totally better than 30 Great Games Winter Fun. These are 90. That's 3 times the games. But normalware. Mad World was an excellent game as well. I agree. I played that one all the way through, and it's a good feeling game. As sick as that might sound, but you gotta take it from the humor standpoint. All right, so next up is Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Another Fire Emblem game, which I didn't really get into until much later. Let's get all these here. Okay, here's the next one. Fortune Street. It's kind of like Concept Light with Mario. Kind of, but not really. It's like Mario Party Plus. I don't know where you would put it. Another board game, but it's not bad. But it takes a while to play. And here's another one. I don't remember. This was probably on a list of games that were said that were good. I have not played it at this point, but Fragile Dreams. Farewell, Ruins of the Moon. Use the Wii Remote as a flashlight, weapon, or proximity sensor as you explore desolate, dangerous worlds. Discover an amazing cinematic world and story waiting for you to explore. I always heard it was good. Apparently it's got some value. I did not realize that. Alright, back to the shovelware. Game Party 3, 19-hit games. Apparently I skipped 1 and 2 and just went right for their third series. I don't know why I bought it. But it happened. Maybe because they have like I don't know. Alright, here's one I picked up back when it came out, and I really didn't put time into it. And to be honest, I don't know if this was that good of a game or not. It may have been, but it might have been a little too big for me to be able to put all the time into it that I should have. It'd be The Godfather Black Hand Edition. I don't know if I got it for the Wii because using the motion controls to shake down people maybe was fun. Guess under T for the. That was maybe it. So one of the early Wii Motion Plus games, Grand Slam Tennis. So now you can play tennis with even more precision. becoming a tennis legend. So I apparently decided this would have been a good idea to buy this game. So this falls under the, heard that this might have been a better game than what I would have expected. Picked it up anyway. Disney's Guilty Party. Kind of like playing a Clue, you're the detective game, but I figured it might have been a fun game to play as, you know, a single player game, but with a group of people. Guilty Party. Maybe it would make for a good stream game. I don't know. Perhaps it would. Okay, here's another shovelware game I decided to pick up. Guinness World Records, the video game. Now you can have fun breaking Guinness records with Wii motion controls in my own living room. That is not the tagline. Hey, Fugel, how's it going? Some shovelware. Alright. So, more game show game action. Hollywood Squares. But now, Hollywood Squares has live motion video built in, so I can enjoy the likes of seeing Tom Bergeron in my own home, along with other great celebrities such as Brad Garrett, Jeffrey Tambor, Kathy Griffin, Martin Mull, all in full real video. Hollywood. Where is it? Is it under H2? Hollywood Squares? I have no idea where it is there. You can make me search for Hollywood Squares. The Hollywood Squares. It does not say the on the box. Or the game. Or the manual. Whatever. It's got a nice little reflective, colory cover with blue on it. Anyway, okay. Here's a game that I streamed as well before. I'm a big fan of this game, and that is House of the Dead Overkill. If you would all enjoy light gun shooters, this is probably my favorite of all time. It's absurd, it's offensive, it's disgusting, it's perfect. House of the Dead Overkill. It's got a great upgrade system for your guns. It's just fun to play, especially if you have the right Wii motion or Wii controller holder. There's some of them out there that are basically shaped like a pistol, and it holds it well, works perfectly, feels really good. Highly recommended. Hey, Boom Blaster, exactly. Alright, so here's a good one, actually. More game show action. Jeopardy! Or perhaps I should look under the Jeopardy! We actually play this one quite a bit, or have played it quite a bit, and to the point where we're starting to hit repeating clues. But there's a specific gun that's better than all the other guns, in my personal opinion. I think it's called the True Shot. True Shot. There it is. Perfect Shot. Sorry. This particular one, the Nyko Perfect Shot, this is fantastic. It's weighted beautifully. You know, this trigger feels really good. Works really well with the game. Perfect indeed. Couldn't be happier with it. But Jeopardy, it works great. You can set it so that you don't have to type in everything perfectly. You can set it for 3 letters or 5 letters in. It'll auto give you suggestions so that you can speed things along. Big fan of the Wii version of Jeopardy. Good time. All right. Kirby's Dream Collection, the 20th anniversary special edition. Kirby's Dream Collection. It's all in there. And then this one was fun too. Kirby's Epic Yarn. Easy, but that didn't stop it from being fun, and it looked really good, and it was adorable. And then they did Yoshi out of yarn, and then continued it. And then Kirby Return to Dreamland. And then here's one that took me a while to finally get a copy of. And I think I still have the disc upstairs in the Wii up there. That's Klonoa on the Wii, which, to my knowledge, is pretty much the same game as Klonoa on PS1. Door of the Phantomile, which is a much more expensive game to get than Klonoa on Wii. And it's a fun game. Look how hip he is with that hat. Just one that I don't really come across very often. Alright, more light gun shooter type stuff. Here's a dual pack of Gunblade, New York Special Air Assault Force, and LA Machine Guns Rage of the Machines. So we'll just assume this is under G for Gunblade. I don't know why I've got it next to K. There it is. Wow. Really? I bought this as shovelware for $3.99. And it's saying 34. When the hell did that happen? Okay. Someone must have done something to make this game more popular. So here's one I picked up as shovelware as well. I think I picked it up, I don't know why. Let's Tap. And I think it was supposed to come with its own boxes. Or it's just suggesting you get any box. And you set the controller on a box. And then you just tap the box and not the controller. And that's good enough because it feels the rumble or the feedback from the accelerometer to do whatever you're supposed to do in this game. Which is, to tap is a rhythm game, tap is a running game. I want to say that this game actually worked and was good. But I picked it up as just like a cheapo, why not? So there we go, Let's Tap. Look at him tapping. Yeah, totally surprised by the price on Gunblade and LA Machine Guns. Alright, next is Legend of Spyro, The Eternal Night. In my kick of buying a bunch of Spyro games. Alright, so actually these are way out of order here. Gunblade should be over here. Okay. Next up is The Twilight Princess. Launch title for the Wii. Of course, couldn't help but pick it up. At that time, everybody who had a Wii picked up Twilight Princess. Oh, they got the blob down at the bottom. Weird. With iCarly and U-Draw. And then, of course, Skyward Sword. I never did finish Skyward Sword. I don't know why. Also seems like it was a very polarizing game for people. Some people really loved it, some people didn't. Sword Bundle. I don't know if I remember that. Oh. I may have gotten the Sword Bundle because I do have this golden controller. But I would not have the box that it all came in. So whatever. I'll just say this. That's fine. But I do have that golden controller, and it is pretty slick, and I do like it. Here's another game that I think would make a good one to stream again to revisit. I played it for a while, never got super deep, but I did put a few hours in. And that'd be Little King's Story. Different job classes. It's basically kind of like Pikmin or a real-time strategy game of that sort, but with people. And to be honest, I'm surprised that it's not worth more than what it is. Still sitting out there a little bit unknown. And I'm going to put in Link's crossbow training while I've got it here, because I still have it. I actually put this game in not long ago, crossbow training, and played it to completion, which I never had played all the way, everything the game had to offer before. And it was fun. Made me wonder why I didn't do that sooner. Alright. Next up is Lost in Shadow. Thank you, GameStop. This is still sealed by GameStop. So this is a new game where they put a sticker on it there. The game is open, and they just have a plastic thing on it here. That feels really new. It's a little shredded over here, too. You're the best. New and sealed. Stickers. Normal wear. I don't even know. That's not a edit. Normal wear. Oh yeah. Sure, I got this earlier on as a launch title. Madden 07. Super relevant today. If I ever need a box to swap, that one will come in handy. Alright, as mentioned earlier, Mad World. This is another great game on the Wii that could get more love. Actually has a pretty cool looking disc too. It's the reflective disc, but they've got the character printed on there. And then a little bit of red, basically the same way that the game works. It looks really good. And it's cheap. So, easy one to want to pick up. And then because I like Monkey Ball, you've got Marble Saga Core or Impa. Basically, it's like Monkey Ball, but they're marbles. They're totally not monkey balls. I want you to make sure that you realize that these are not monkeys inside of balls, but clearly just marbles. It may play exactly like Monkey Ball, but it totally is not. We may have made animals out of some of the marbles. None of them are inside of the balls as monkeys, though. Make sure you're aware of that. I haven't bought a Madden game in a long time. And when I have a Madden game, it has mostly to do with the fact that I had a friend that I played it with, and we played it basically more like a chess type of game, and we would play online. So it was a way for me to play with a friend of mine and keep in touch with them. Alright, Row 2. I'm not a Madden kind of guy, but I'm an all games kind of guy. And just because it's football doesn't necessarily mean that it's still actually a good game for what it is. But yeah. I would be more of the Madden casual, if you will. So Mario Kart Wii. Of course, Mario Kart. Gotta get it. Although it's probably one of the least played Mario Karts of my lifetime. And then I collected some of these. The Mario and Sonic Winter Olympics. Vancouver 2010. I don't know what made me want to collect the Mario Olympics games, but I did. So Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Oh, what is this actually going to be called if it's not obviously sitting there as Mario and Sonic? Is under V for Vancouver? I don't know. Olympic. London, Rio, Mario and Sonic. Ugh. Okay, there it is. It's all there. And then now we can find it much easier here. Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympics. With a yellow case, just to make it different than every other game on the Wii. So here was one that I really enjoyed. And I played this on stream and it was fun as well. Mario Strikers Charged. We talked about this a little bit in the last stream as well. I just really did enjoy the Mario soccer games. I'm not much of a soccer person, but had a blast with these games. And then Mario Super Sluggers. So Mario Baseball, basically. And this was also a really fun game. Not using the motion controls, but just playing it normally. And I believe there's one on the GameCube as well. And that was a good time. They may have been much less popular set of games in the Mario Sports series, but they were great. Next is Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really play this one, and I don't have a good reason why not. Something else must have come up. So, no, Corruption. I need to go back and play this one for sure sometime, because I really liked the Metroid Prime series. Okay. Next up is Metroid Other M. I bought it just to buy it. It's still sealed. I have not played it. It was just I got it to get it. Maybe someday, but probably not. And then I also have the Metroid Prime Trilogy Steelbook Edition. And this was back before they reran this, when this thing was so freaking popular, that the Steelbook Collector's Edition just skyrocketed in price. And then they reran them so people could get them, and then it became less popular. But I actually never opened mine because I had all the individual games, so I had no reason to open this, so I just never had. So I still have it sealed. And Metal Slug Anthology on the Wii. I'm assuming this isn't that expensive, but it has Metal Slug 1, 2, X, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if you want to collect some Metal Slug, I think this is a pretty good way to go about it, to be honest. It's not super expensive. I've got Metal Slug games on other systems that are more expensive. Or at least I've seen them on the PlayStation 2 definitely being more expensive. This is, this should be before Metroid. Metal Slug's out of place. Alright. Now for Minute to Win It. Back into the shovelware. I don't have a manual for it, that's fine. This was more of a let's get some more minigame centric, trivia centric games. Oh jeez, hold up. Oh god. Minute to Win It. Boom. Alright, guy. Game and box, no manual. So here's one that's actually pretty cool. Not necessarily shovelware, but this is more of a Katamari Damacy style game once again. The Munchables. Where you go around and you're this little dude and you're on a platform level and you eat up people that are smaller than you, so you get bigger, and then you're allowed to eat bigger things, and you just progress that way. It's probably under T for the. It's actually not a bad game. And then speaking of not a bad game, here's Muramasa, the Demon Blade. Looked great on the Wii. Would have been great, even better, if it could have been in HD. I think this game personally could benefit from an HD remake. It definitely didn't get enough exposure and would probably look that much better in HD. Beautiful hand-drawn art. Just waiting to be used better. Okay. Here's one that I always liked the idea of it, perhaps, but I have no idea if it's actually any good, but it always looked cool. And that would be Mushroom Men. The Spore Wars. It just looks good. And I think it has potential of being decent. I have no manual. But just some of the images on the back and the character designs and coloring just really looks appealing to me. But I've yet to play it. Alright, here's more game collection stuff. Namco Museum Mega Mix. 24 games. With the likes of Pac-Man, Rally X, Pac-Mania, Galpus, Super Pac-Man, Xevious, Galaga, blah 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 blah. And then some extra new stuff like new Rally X. Galaga Remix. Rally X Remix. Just classic games, another compilation. I couldn't pass it up. I think I bought this from Blockbuster because of the Blockbuster stickers. But here we go. We got Knights on the Wii. A Journey of Dreams. Pre-owned Blockbuster purchase right here. Alright, here we go. Here's two games that I really, really loved. Oh yeah, most certainly I played Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus. I played all the Pac-Man Championship editions. So next up is No More Heroes with Travis Touchdown on the cover there. Really enjoyed this game. Played great on the Wii. Like the open worldness of it felt slow and empty at points, but when I went back and played it a second time, I was more accepting of it the second time. And even though I felt the game would have been much better with HD graphics than the original, I felt it was still really good because they stylized the graphics, cel shaded a bit, and that really helped blend it in. But it was still really good. I really liked it. Then No More Heroes 2, Desperate Struggle. I didn't play this until well after the fact that it came out. I had it, bought it, and just never played it for whatever reason that I have no clue. And played it about a year or two ago, all the way through, and really liked it. Because I knew I would. And it was fun to revisit the No More Heroes world again. And I want to say they're bringing them back for another one, and I can't wait. Alright, now this one I did play. This was a later pickup. Obscure, The Aftermath. 3D horror style game. But you can play this with 2 players cooperatively at the same time. And I did that a little bit. And it still didn't make it better. It was still weird and frustrating and confusing. And I don't know why I've still got it, but I do. Alright, here we go. So the Wii version of Okami. So now, with all the paintbrush action, you can now use touch controls. And I never played this particular version, so honestly I have no idea if those touch controls made it better or worse. But Okami is a great game, and this would be a good way to pick it up. Apparently pretty cheap. And here's no stranger to those who have seen me play this one in the past, but we've got a copy of Order Up here. Played this game to completion on stream. And fun game. It gets a little repetitive, but that doesn't stop it from being fun. And if you're lucky enough to have picked up an early copy of it, you can get yourself your very own burger face hat. That came with it. Awesome little add-in for a game like this. Or you can just play this game for free on mobile devices nowadays. Because for some reason it turned from actually playing it to being a free game. Alright, next up is Pandora's Tower. This bad boy is sealed. And this is more of a collection item than anything else. Back when I was getting some Wii games, I picked up a copy of this. I don't really have much to say about it. And next up is Pikmin on the Wii with new play control. So if you want to play Pikmin with motion controls instead, you can. And you're probably going to tell me it's under N for new play control. Should have picked up these other ones. Like Donkey Kong Jungle Beat on the Wii. I should have done that. That's a good game, by the way, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Pikmin is a fantastic game. I played that through completion on stream as well. But the GameCube on the GameCube. Whoops. Although if I'm playing Jungle Beat, I'd rather be playing with the bongos. Sorry, Wii. Okay, so here's a game I got on the Wii. You guys may have heard of this one before. And this was the start of something big. That'd be Pinball Hall of Fame Williams Collection. Now this is before the 360 one came out by Crave Entertainment, aka also Farsight Studios is in there too. But they had Black Knight, Firepower, Funhouse, Gorgar, Pinbot, Space Shuttle, Taxi, Whirlwind, Jive Time, and Sorcerer. So you got 10 tables. So on this collection, it was really like Funhouse, Pinbot, Taxi. Those were the ones that blew me away. And then when the 360 version came out, it just got better. So Pinball Hall of Fame. This is the first one I got on the Pinball Hall of Fames. And that's before it obviously became what it is now. I never picked up the Gottlieb collection, though. I don't know what was included in the Gottlieb collection. Apparently it's worth a little bit more. And then here's one for Steve Bowden. Pressure Luck 2010 edition. Pressure Luck 2010 edition. I'm always a huge fan of Pressure Luck. And if you're ever around Steve, or he's in a chat, and anything comes up, he'll probably bring up Pressure Luck as well. It is an amazing game. I don't know, maybe someday, if Steve has his way. Game and manual. Exactly. Big money, no whammies. Keep the game shows a-rolling with The Price is Right 2010 edition. And that's going to be under the. Still have the receipt. And now we've got The Price is Right Decades, in case 2010 just was too recent for you. Here's a really good game. This one kind of flew under the radar, to be honest. And that would be Punch-Out on the Wii. Just graphically gorgeous. Plays great. If you'd all like Punch-Out, it is such a good game. Definitely worth owning. Definitely worth going back and playing. It still looks good now. They did a brilliant job with how they made this game. And how it looks. I played it not that long ago, went back. It's still really challenging. It's still just beautiful to look at and play. So yeah, easily recommended. Here's a, early on, these guys made this game, and it became super popular. And then they just burnt these guys into the ground, and they're still working on doing more digging so they can burn them deeper. And that's Rayman Raving Rabbids. Rabbids. It's like, I remember playing this one, and it was okay. I mean, The Rabbids were fun. The games were fun. It was clever. And then it just got out of control. So, of course, Rabbids Go Home, a comedy adventure. What the hell was I thinking? This is when I realized things weren't going to be going well from here on out. Jeez, look at all these. Travel in time. Rabbids Go Home. Should have known better. And like I mentioned before, here's two games I wouldn't mind revisiting, especially the second one. First one being Red Steel. Early launch title on the Wii. So much promise, but did not really hold up. The idea of having a gun, shooting it, and then having a sword to go with it in first person with motion controls. It's like, how could that idea not be awesome? And it just didn't hold up like it was supposed to. At least the first one. The second one was supposed to be better. Rayman does. He had Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends. Both of those games were fantastic. And no Rabbids to be found. It was just Rayman platforming 2D at its finest. And then you had Red Steel 2, which was more like Samurai Western and using Wii Motion Plus to try to make the game what it was supposed to be. And I want to say... Is this what, game only, I guess? Sure. I remember playing this and it wasn't that bad, but I don't remember it being that good, but I remember it wasn't that bad, which means I probably should revisit it again sometime. Alright, next up is Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition, because I had to keep rebuying this game as many times as humanly possible. But now with motion controls. It's good to see that Resident Evil has no value anymore. Alright, and then here's a lesser known light gun game, Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles. And if there was one thing I remember about this, and as much as I do like a great light gun game, especially on the Wii, was that it felt like they made it hard enough that they wanted to be a arcade game that you had to somehow keep pumping quarters into. It's like, you don't need to make a game that tough when I'm at home. You don't need to make it so I'm constantly dying and getting cheap kills. You already got my money. What the hell was Darkside Chronicles? I have no idea what that was. Hey, Grogeek. Thanks for stopping by. I'm nearly done with my Wii games, and then I'll be done myself. I just wanted to make some extra progress before I move all this into the other room. You enjoy the rest of your day. Get yourself some Italian beef. Enjoy the sunshine while it's out there. Have a good weekend. Next up, fantastic game, Rhythm Heaven Fever. Rhythm Heaven's a fantastic series. Mentioned it on the DS. Plays great on the Wii. Highly recommended. Alright, so sequel to Sin and Punishment on the 64 that didn't come out here is Sin and Punishment Star Successor. So more on-rails shooting action. There it is. Just having trouble finding it. Alright, another one that I picked up I don't think this one was all that great, but it was okay-ish. And that would be Smarty Pants. As far as just cheap, have fun answering trivia questions type something. Okay. Smarty Pants trivia fun for everyone. Where are you, Smarty Pants? I don't see you. So if it's not there, is it under the for the Smarty Pants? No, so you're going to make me search for it. I'll search in another one. Smarty Pants. EA Smarty Pants. Oh my god. Who's naming this crap? It's in there. Okay, and then the last in this little stack is SSX Blur. Another game in the SSX franchise. And SSX has always been good. Or better than good. So you're probably telling me it's up here. Yeah. Subparray. Whoa, what is that? It's a cool looking cover for a game I've never even heard of before. I feel like I want to know more about that game. Wii Spray Review. Oh. Oh no. Does not look like that went well. Mediocre. Anyway. Sorry, Spray. Alright, SSX Blur. Okay. Two more sections to get through. Next up is the Super Mario All-Stars 25th Anniversary Edition. I actually never opened my copy, so this is still sealed. Since I've got so many versions of this I could play that I didn't need to open it, but I wanted it anyway. Super Mario All-Stars Limited Edition. Alright, the new Super Mario Bros. Wii. Probably going to go under N for new, aren't you? And then these two games, both amazing. Super Mario Galaxy and then Super Mario Galaxy 2. I like 2 more than 1, to be honest. And I even played 2 with the 2-player feature, where the second player just controls a icon on screen with the as a star with the motion control of the second controller, and we just switched off back and forth, and it was great. You had enough interaction to make it worth your while and make you feel like you're helping each other out. Alright, then Mario Sports Mix. Putting in dodgeball, volleyball, basketball, and hockey. More Mario Sports, count me in. This is probably going to be under M, even though it's not super. Should probably move this one to the M section. Okay, next up is Super Paper Mario. I've more or less enjoyed the Paper Mario series. Some of the games are a little too long for me, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy them for a while the time I'm playing them. And then, of course, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. A game that people probably would say definitely doesn't live up to its predecessor of Melee, but that doesn't necessarily make it a bad game. Just not as popular in the long-run community. And of course, I fell sucker for the Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, which has got some great Super Monkey Ball action, mind you. Unfortunately, it also has some fairly terrible mini-games shoehorned in there, because that's what games did back then on the Wii. Well, they had always had tons of mini-games, but they put in tons of bad mini-games using the motion controls. Oh, jeez. That much. Definitely some worth revisiting, Fugle. It holds up today as still being just an amazing Mario experience. And then I picked this up too. Mainly because I think I played it with a friend randomly, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. I'll get it. Why not? Even though I'm not a fighting game person, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom Ultimate All-Stars. So if you want some just crazy fighting action, it can be a fun game. Tiger Woods PGA Tour 10. You can see that he's very distraught about where his life is going, that he doesn't realize it yet. Feel the drama, it says on the back. How appropriate. Alright, Tiger Woods. I guess this was supposed to be a good golf game. It had new disc golf in it, which disc throwing with the Wii Motion Plus actually works pretty well. So maybe this was better than I thought. I have no idea. And here you go, Tony Hawk Downhill Jam. This was an early title, I think a launch title for the Wii. And although you would normally say this was a trash cash-in for the Tony Hawk series, I remember booting it up and playing it long after I had it with a friend, and we ended up having a blast playing it. I don't really know why it took me so long to play the game, but way more fun than I would have ever given it credit for. Probably because I had my expectations so low. Alright, so more Trauma Center, Second Opinion. So now, if precision touch controls wasn't hard enough, now you can do Trauma Center with less precise motion controls. But it's still fun. And you can do multiplayer. Trauma Center New Blood. Honestly, I have no idea which one came first or second in this series of 2 games. But I've got them both. Exactly. Right, last few in this little bit right here. We got just a couple more and then we're all done here. So, hey, this one actually isn't that bad. Trivial Pursuit. In my kick of getting as many trivia-style games as I could. Trivial Pursuit, not too bad. Nothing fancy. Just answering questions, having a good time. And much like Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam, This one I played later on, and I should probably revisit it, is Wario Land Shake It. 2D Wario platforming action, and you shake it. You shake your Wii Remote to get more stuff out of certain things. It's actually a pretty good game. I don't know why I didn't put more time into it. And I think that would probably make for a good streaming game. Japanese WarioWare for the DS. Nice. That's a type of game that would probably work well enough on a DS too. Speaking of WarioWare, is WarioWare Smooth Moves, which actually is a pretty decent WarioWare game just because they got really creative with different ways that you can hold the Wii Remote in order to accomplish all the mini games they have. Alright, just about done here. Wheel of Fortune with terrifying looking Vanna and Pat. And now for some Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. A lot of games seem to have this type of glittery cover. All from the same company, by the way. Give it to Ludia. Wow. Why is this gone? Have some value to it. I mean, it's just more trivia questions. It's not bad. I don't know, definitely not worth $10, but. And then here's Wii Fit, which a ton of people had. I included. And I enjoyed it. What can I say? Nintendo made me try to exercise. I guess I'll do the full thing because I do have the Wii balance board around here somewhere. And then, I did not buy this, I will say, but I was given this as a gift by a friend. Wii Music. It's, it's a music game that's for everyone. Yeah. And then Wii Play, which came with another controller, which was great. If back in the day, it was actually tough to get Wiimote controllers because the Wii was so popular and it was just so wanted that this was a great way to get another one. And these actually are games that... come on. Games that were originally going to be part of Wii Sports, but they were not. So some of these were actually still pretty decent and fun to play. Alright, and here's the end of the Wii section. Now this is a game that I feel doesn't probably even get enough respect too. But Wii Sports Resort, utilizing the Wii Motion Plus for more Wii Sports style games, with way more games, 12 additional games mind you. And a lot of these are still a blast to play. Certainly something worth getting if you've got a Wii. I've also got a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles. And I don't know if this is an original or a rerun. Probably a rerun, because I don't remember paying out the nose for it. This game was stupidly expensive, and then they made more. And then it just kind of died off. And another fantastic game, which I wouldn't be against them bringing back again, even though right now it's been turned into a franchise of housing a bunch of different games that aren't this game. That would be You Don't Know Jack, a relevant trivia game, which is amazing as a trivia game. You Don't Know Jack's been around a long, long time. And they kind of now turned it into the Jackbox, which doesn't even include You Don't Know Jack. It's just a bunch of other games. Give me more You Don't Know Jack again, please. Sorry. Anyway, great game. You can get it on just about any system. Some of the best ones are the old PC versions. Hey, Drakendite, how's it going? More cataloging, but we're actually just about wrapping up. I finished up my... I did Dreamcast, and I'm just about to finish up the Wii games. Because I still have to have dinner and get ready for tonight's stream. Alright, and more or less closing out with the last box title is another one that would probably make a great stream game. Zack and Wiki, Quest for the Barbarossa's Treasure. This is a very clever puzzle game that requires you to not only be clever, but use your Wiimote in clever ways. And it looks good, it plays good, it's very appealing. Definitely recommend it. I think this would make for a great streaming game. I revisited it not that long ago again myself, and still holds up as being fun. Yes, pinball. I still do that. And then we already put this one in, which is the Lynx Crossbow Training. But then we got also put in the original Wii Sports. It came with the system. Still has value. Still a great game. Put normal wear. Alright. So there we go. We got all my Wii games in. After that, I've got Virtual Boy games to be done there. And technically, I probably still have some loose ones in my Virtual Boy case, which I'll need to take out in order to properly finish that off. Then Sega CD, Sega 32X, and then we'll go on to the final shelving unit, and that'll be it. You know, maybe I should finish off this shelf. Might take another 20-30 minutes, but might be better I just finish the shelf off so we can just continue on here. And then finish that hopefully tomorrow. This won't take too long. Alright, so here's my boxed Virtual Boy games. We'll do this real quick. Not a big collection here. So Galactic Pinball. Do have the manual in here. In the box. The game, I believe, is in the case. So. Let's put normal. Next up is Golf. which all in all really isn't that bad of a game if you like golf. It's golf. Manual's in there. Once again, I'm sure the game is inside the my case. Alright, next up is Virtual Boy Wario Land. It's a pretty good game. Manual, box, doesn't have the sleeve action. Little Virtual Boy sleeve that goes on the game. Probably put that on the game. Alright, so here's ones I bought after the fact complete. Apparently I've got the price on a little sticky note on it. First one is Nestor's Funky Bowling. And manual, and I've got the game actually here in the box, which I should probably transfer the other games back into their boxes. And then the last box game is Mario Clash. Which the game isn't in there, but I've got the manual here. Once again, I'll presume the game is over there. Actually, you know what? This is box and manual only. That's what it says, but I do have the game. I believe still over there. So I'm going to leave it as that for now. Here's where I've got a pull. So I have the Blockbuster rental case for Virtual Boy right here. Still in great shape. Yeah, some of the Virtual Boy prices are crazy. Some of these I'd never even heard of, and might just be Japanese titles. You could rent the entire system, exactly. Back in the day, at a lot of like stores like Blockbuster and such, they did have you would rent a lot of systems. And the inside of the case is actually very nice too. It's you've got instructions for setting up and how to do it, like on the inside top cover. It's all like stuck foam on the inside to keep it safe. Manual for the system. I even have the original receipt from when we bought the system from Blockbuster, because that's where we got it. Blockbuster, wow, what a difference. Golf was $10, Galactic Pinball $10, Wario Land $10, the Virtual Boy unit itself, all of this in the Virtual Boy, $30 for the case and the Virtual Boy and everything. So in total, those 3 games in the system came up to $63.56. And then here I've got more games inside here. So here's Mario Clash. Let's put these games inside their appropriate cases where possible. Wario Land. Golf. And Galactic Pinball. So we've got 3 other games that weren't there. We'll get to those in a second. And then, yeah, the system. But it all fits nicely in, you know, cut out pouches, so it's all held really well. Hey, Zerto, how's it going, man? And these cases like these rental system cases are very collectible as well. People really enjoy having those cases, not only because it's built to hold those systems, but, you know, it keeps them safe. And they look cool, and it's a part of history and memory for a lot of people. So, Tellero Boxer. Next one, which actually is a pretty cool game, because it's in first person. And then Mario Tennis, with a bit of a ripped label there. And I played a ton of this Mario's Tennis game, by the way. Actually, I wouldn't mind having the box for that one. Edit. Torn label. And then here's one that may not be on this list. I don't know. It's Japanese. By the way, the Virtual Boy is not region locked. So there we go. There's this, which is a baseball game. So I believe that's Virtual League Baseball. Doesn't have a picture on it, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Because there's only so many games, and this is the only baseball game. Just gonna put game down, normal wear. Mobile Twitch. Nice, nice. Yeah, there was no other baseball. So that is going to be it. So that's all I've got for Virtual Boy. We should probably put the system in here. I already have it in. What about accessories? No accessories. Out of curiosity, let's see if we can find what that Virtual Boy case is. Virtual Boy rental case. So a little bit all over the place. This one's torn up a little bit, selling for $90. This one they want to sell it with the system for $350. So yeah, the case itself, with no Virtual Boy, is about worth $100 apparently. Or yeah, 7 games. There you go. So that's Virtual Boy. We'll put my loose games back in here where I keep them. Put this back on the shelf. All right, put these back down on the shelf down here. All right, so now we got just a little bit more to do, and then I'll be done for the day. We're just going to do the last bit of this shelf, and then all we'll have left is this guy over here. So this moves us on to Sega CD. We're going to start with System, which I'm just going to put console in box, normal wear. Alright, so I don't have a ton of games for the CD, but I do have some big ones. So this first one I got because I played a one similar-ish to it, but not really similar to it, to be honest. But from the same series, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. The second Cataclysm. Because that's a thing. So I played another game of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, and it was more just a side-scrolling beat 'em up. So I picked this one up as well on the Sega CD. The case has got a little bit of a break on it for one of the hinges. The 64. See, the biggest problem with that is I'd be collecting it just to collect it. There's not a lot for me to do with it is the problem. And if there's nothing for me to do with it, then it makes it tough for me to want to get it. Alright, next up is Flink, which was just available at the time that I think I bought the Sega CD from my local place, so I picked it up. And it's a Psygnosis game, which some of you may recognize as being Owlnonimous's avatar there. And it's a side-scrolling platformer style game. I did play it, and I would say it's definitely not worth the price it's being asked for it, in my opinion. But it was a game, and I played it. It's in great shape. Alright, so I'd been asked a bunch of times what's the most expensive game in my collection, and I've opted to not say anything, to wait for whenever I would get to it, and just a few of you that are here will get to have that answer right now. So here's the most expensive game I've got in my collection currently, and that is Kyo Flying Squadron on the Sega CD, which is complete with game, and I made sure it's got a perfect case as well. So there you go. That is the most expensive game I have. It is a side-scrolling shooter, or could be referred to as a cute-em-up, as some people might call it. And commands a very high price. Currently holding my top spot and pushing to make my very small Sega CD collection easily one of my most expensive collections. Next up is one that just kind of looked like it could be cool, but I'd never played it, which is Rise of the Dragon. And it just looks cool, made by Dynamics, people who made Tribes, so that was appealing to me. And looks more like sci-fi adventure, maybe like a clicking adventure, but could be a cool game to play sometime. So, and it didn't have bad reviews. But is it really worth it? Zerto, the quick answer is no. Is a game worth that much? No. Is it a good game? Yes, it is. I've played it. It's a lot of fun. You don't need to spend anywhere near that kind of money to have a good time. But it is a good game. And would probably make for a good stream game sometime. Being as it would be playing on the real game itself. But the nice thing is, the price I bought it for was less than what it's worth now. So it will definitely not be a situation where as long as I perhaps sell it at the right time, would be worth the investment of getting it to have it, play it, and then let it move on. So, I think low run, along with the fact that, I mean, a game like this in the US is not going to be super popular. And the fact that it's also a good game, and shooters, generally rare shooters that are good, will appeal to a certain type of collector, which will generally pay quite a bit for them. So, the previous contender for most expensive game in my collection, though, is the next game. Also a Sega CD game. And that would be Snatcher, which is a game I had been interested in getting for a long time. And then I've been watching auction after auction and eventually picked one up on one of the better priced auctions, if you will. So another very expensive game. And this would be mostly well known because made by Hideo Kojima of the Metal Gear franchise fame. And in the just a very futuristic point and click adventure style-ish game. So yeah, this little stack here accounts for a huge jump in my collection value. Okay, now to finish out my Sega CD collection. Hey, Drakendite. Is Soul Feast, which is a side-scrolling shooter game, and is actually pretty good. Fun little shooter. There he is. Not really much to it. I don't even know if there's anything more than this, to be perfectly honest. I guess box. I'm not even aware if there's a manual. There it is, Soul Feast. Okay, next up is another kind of shooter that kind of looks more like a Star Fox, if you will. Soul Star on Sega CD. Another game in excellent shape and can be fun to play. Which system would be the question, Zerdo? I do have a copy of Dragon's Lair on the 3DO. And then last is Wirehead. This game was recommended me by a guy at Replay Effects. I don't have it for Sega CD. Just 3DO. It's basically an FMV style game, Wirehead, where you watch and then you make a decision, which may not have any, no real way to know what path you're supposed to choose. And it's just completely off the wall bonkers. And I did play some of it, and it is definitely interesting to say the least. But neat. So yeah. There's Wirehead to finish off the 3DO or Sega CD set of games. Alright, we've got just a little bit left here. Which are my 32X games, and then a Sega CD 32X game. So let's go to Sega 32X. Start by getting the system in, which I do have a box complete for. Okay. So first up is Knuckles and Chaotix. Or sorry, Knuckles' Chaotix. The boxes on the 32X are actually pretty slick, and I like them. The art on them is pretty good. Unfortunately, I've only got one box game. The art on that cover there is way better than the art on the game cover itself. Just a game. Normal wear. So here's another one that was recommended to me. And this is another shooting game. And I actually was playing this and having a hell of a time figuring out what it is I was supposed to be doing at all. And that would be Colibri. A shooting game where you are a hummingbird. And good lord, I had a hard time figuring out what in the world was going on. And then I picked this up just because I felt I needed to. And it was available. And that'd be the original Virtua Fighter. It's not Kinky Zerto. I think you're thinking of something else. It's just really weird. It is kind of Dragon's Lair-esque, yes. But more just storyline and FMV. Yeah, I think I saw what you're talking about on one of the retro streamers during Godey's week-long Nintendo series that somebody was doing that. And it was, there's a couple games out there like that. I don't have any of those types of games, though. Alright, and then for my only 32X boxed game is Tempo, which I was told that this was actually a pretty good game. And the graphics on the back are very classic-y, cartoony, side-scrolling 2D platform. But I'm pretty sure I have not played this game at this point. But it's all there. And then finally, last and probably least, 100% full motion interactive video. My only Sega CD and 30/32X game. I don't necessarily know where to. I guess this would be it. Corpse Killer, yeah, that's it. I have not played this. I don't know just how bad it really is. Alright, so that's it for those, let me put these back.